Alright, so I'm going to go over some ways you can organize your content in your course. The biggest organization tool that you're going to have is uh, going to be how your course looks. So for instance, right here, I've got tabs at the top. You get to choose how you want these. You can have tabs that are organized by date. You can have, you don't even have to have tabs. You can have, down here, you could have like little icons that would be the same names as those tabs. I'm going to show you uh, how you can get to choosing those. Before I do that, though, I'm going to change the appearance of this course so it looks more like what you're likely using in Boost. So this is probably more like what you're used to. To get to your tabs, you're going to go up here and you're going to click your Edit Settings. And in your Edit Settings, you get to choose what the course looks like. This is where you choose how things look. If you want to know about any of these, you can click on this, and you can see that this doesn't cover all of them. There's been new ones added since I've messed around with this. The ones that I would typically see is a weekly format. A topics format is where you just scroll one on top of the other. Um, Grid format is where you have the pictures down at the bottom. Folder view is where you can click, you might have each unit be a folder, and then once you click in the folder, you'll see what's in that folder. Maybe organized a little bit like you would organize your desktop computer or something. If there's any of these that you have questions on, all you need to do is type them into Google. So like columns, this is kind of a new one. This is a fun one. It allows you to put multiple columns on the page. Well, if you're curious about that, you can just go to columns format Moodle. And here, if you want to know about columns, you can just read about columns. So this will show you how columns are set up. I didn't mean to click on that. You could go to, you can go to any of these. So you'll see pictures. This is the grid picture. It shows you those pictures that you can click on. And it just allows you to see different formats. So it looks like this one shows us multiple types of formats. Anyway, your second technique for organizing a course. So I'm going to go back because I want mine to stay as one topic. I like the columns at the top. The second way to organize a course, this is a professional development that I've done in the past. This is organized by what's called lessons, okay, or a lessons grouping.
Adding a lesson.
A lessons grouping is how you can put multiple pages of content embedded within each other. So if you want to make a lesson on, it might take more than a day to go through a lesson. You might expect a lesson to be less than a day. You get to choose that. But what you would do is so once your editing is turned on, you would just add an activity or resource and you would add a lesson. Now, lessons are probably the more advanced way to organize things. It's kind of like a book, which we'll go into in a minute. But if we click on a lesson, I just want to start on the first page. So this is the way a lesson works. You can create a page, and then a student would click next or continue at the bottom. You get to create another page. They click continue. You see how this works. They click continue. And eventually inside of a lesson, so I can have images. Eventually inside of a lesson, though, you're going to see questions. So I can write questions inside of a lesson, and let's say they click on this. Well, that's incorrect. So you'll click continue, and it'll take them back to the beginning part, or you get to choose what page it takes them to within your lesson. So if you want to, it's somewhat of adaptive feedback. Again, like I said, I wouldn't start here. This is a more advanced way to use organization. The two other ways that are pretty much I think the most logical. So this one is organized using labels and files. What that means is I put a label up here. It tells me what's going to be below it, and then I actually put the files down here. For me, this is what I used in a classroom, and it allowed me to be organized enough that kids could, okay, we're here today, or I can work on this today, or I haven't done this discussion yet because let's say there's no check mark over here. Um, it gave enough direction, but it didn't make it so linear. So if we look at a lesson or we look at a book, those are very linear. Like it's kind of makes sense to do one page and then do the next page and then do the next page after that. Whereas labels and files allow you to, maybe you could choose one of the four below, and you can do one of these four things. Now, for this, it wouldn't make sense, but if you had four different readings, you could say choose one of the four and then upload four different readings there. This is what I used in my courses, like I said. Here is another way you can organize courses or content. This is through a resource called a book. A book is a little bit less linear than a lesson. So we'll just go into this book. The way a book works, you get to choose what's on each page, and then a student can click next. Now, within the book, you can see here, they don't have to go in order. So they don't have to just click next, next, next to get somewhere. They could say, oh, I want to do this one. I only care about this one now. So they could, well, that's not a good example, but this one. Then they could skip all of these other things if they already know how to do them. So like I said, a book is a little bit less linear than a lesson, but I think the least linear is the labels and files.